Good evening, everybody. As always, we start our meetings with the pledge. So if you'd like to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for being here tonight. I understand. I forgot all about it. I'm competing against trivia night. So thank you. I know. I didn't realize. Don't leave yet. I'll go quick.
Don't pull it. It's bringing in money.
Oh, no. I like trivia night. It's working for me. But so I appreciate everybody being here. If I go too slow, just tell me to speed up, and we'll try to get through it so you can get to trivia night at the tail end of it. Okay?
And the guy's number 9 on Jeopardy, too.
Oh, well, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to, a typical format, the town hall meetings is a pretty open format, but I ask you to give me a few minutes. I'm going to go over some topical issues, some of the things going on right now, some things I think you need to know about. So I'll do that through a presentation, and then from there, there's some questions. We only had 3 or 4 questions that came in, so I'm going to answer those, and then we'll open the floor and talk as long as we need to. I try to answer as many of your questions that I can, and if there's any I can't answer tonight, we'll capture the information. I'll come back and answer it for you later. Everybody okay with that? And I was told I'm not allowed to say be nice, but I'm going to say it anyway. You got to be nice. It's my meeting, so mine you have to be nice. Can everybody in the back hear me okay? Hear me all right back there? Right? You good? All right, I'm going to give you some quick highlights. Would it help to have the front lights down, or can everybody see it okay?
It's okay. Sorry.
Is it okay? Okay. All right, some highlights on the yacht club. Interestingly enough, as we closed out the season, the summer season, this was our most net profitable business that we've had since we've opened the club. Art went back 20 years looking at it. Last year we were around $138,000 in actual revenues at this point in time. This year we're at and last year was extremely profitable. We're at 209 this year. That's pretty significant. So we're very, very excited. The changes, some of the things we implemented, obviously new club, came the first year with some bumps and bruises, and we all knew that was going to happen. But more importantly, it's not the bumps and bruises you take, it's what you do to adjust to get by that, which we made adjustments. We had some leadership changes down there. Part of the reason our numbers are looking very good is they're really managing, it's not just the sheer numbers of people, because we had a lot of people come through last year, but they're managing the actual expense side of the house much, much more effectively. So that's why we've had those improved numbers. In addition to that, something that was pretty exciting, the Metropolitan Magazine, if you have not seen one, and Teresa, I think there's some links back, right? We laid some out. Metropolitan Magazine each year comes out with the best of category. Our wedding and catering facility, which is the yacht club, the Clubs of Ocean Pines, was named the best of in the Berlin Ocean City Marketplace. Again, pretty big deal. Okay, so our first year of operations, and trust me, I already talked to a couple of friends of mine. I'm on the Ocean City Chamber of Commerce, so I get to interact and work with a lot of the people in town, and a lot of the banquet facility folks over there came up to me, and obviously there's a little bit of a camaraderie there, but that's only because it's new. And I said, well, we're going to beat you again next year. So I'm that confident. It's kind of fun because our facility can't match it. As a matter of fact, a friend of mine came over from one of the other hotel groups and actually had lunch just to check it out, and she was really amazed at what we have to offer. So we are moving in the right direction. The investment the community's made, you all have made. Good evening. You guys have made it really is going to pay off, and we're starting to see the dividends now. So the biggest thing we're trying to focus on, if you notice, right after the Labor Day, we shut down and went down to 4-day operation. Last year we dragged it out a little too far, and it cost us. We've also made our seasonal changes with our employee status. In other words, we've cut back from the seasonal employees right after the Labor Day. So we're trying to take a much more proactive and aggressive look at how we're managing the expenses. And I think the team's doing a very good job down there. Aquatics, another area that's going very, very good. Aquatics has realized a year-to-date $92,000 improvement over last year at the same time period. So again, another significant improvement within the community. From Memorial Day to we've been really trying to do the metrics to track the numbers. It's one thing to talk about the dollars. They're easy because we obviously from the good evening, Chip, easy from the accounting and those type of things, easy to track that. The one that was most interesting, the most visits to the pools. Now, a visit is not someone that comes in, walks out to the car, and comes back in again, where that's two. It's because once you come in, you're signed in. That's the visit. Some stats. 2013, we had 68,000 visitors to our pools. That's all 5 pools. Now, remember this, Memorial Day till September, that mid-September when we closed down. 2014, we had 79,000 visits to the pool. This year, 88,000 people or visits to the pool. Pretty phenomenal. 20,000 increase in visits in the 2-year period. So things are improving, and that's why our numbers are where they are. So again, we had change in management there. The team's doing a phenomenal job. The swim lessons, the aqua Zumba classes, if you haven't seen it, go on the website. The mermaid classes. The kids get these. The girls get these little mermaid fins, and they do a mermaid class now. A big hit. The dive-in movies have been a big hit. So a lot of new activities, a lot of things going on. There was a picture that our parks director sent to me. She's trying to get us to do a merman. That's what I did. I said, yeah, right, okay. So that's not happening, just to be clear.
She is creative.
Oh, extremely creative. So, all right, here we go. Some people want to talk about this. High-level, quick and fast overview. I'm not going to give you a lot of detail because it wouldn't be appropriate, but I did get several questions come in, so I want to give the latest update. As some of you may know, we worked on Sandpiper for about 1.5 years, and then we hit a stall. Just couldn't get it moved for a number of different reasons. Forget all of that. I'm going to bring you up to date from June. In June, the board decided to take a different approach to negotiating Sandpiper, so we re-engaged with them. During that time, there have been many conference calls, emails, face-to-face interviews. Part of the discussions was coming up with something that was mutually agreeable from both parties, something that could be fair, balanced, comprehensive, and met not only short but long-term objectives from both sides. So we've been working through those. With that being said, the meetings have been extremely productive, extremely positive, and from that, the board is now looking at the actual framework of an agreement between Sandpiper and OPA. So, not approved yet. Both boards are looking at it, but we have drawn up or crafted or designed the framework to move us forward with the project. So, very excited about that. Please don't say when's it going to be signed or when the agreement's going to be inked. Don't have a clue yet. But I can tell you we're much further ahead in the last 75 days or so than we were for the year prior to that. So we're close. It's looking good. I can tell you the board took a lot of time to go through the parameters of the agreement. We have a lot of discussions about it. Sandpiper board has done the same, and I think we're close to coming up to some sort of final draft of an agreement. And then the board will obviously have to review that again and make the final determination which way to move on. But it's looking more favorable now, more positive than it had. Okay, yes, sir?
Paul, I was going to ask you, I hear a lot about Sandpiper bringing propane down from bulk in the truck, putting it in our lines. And then you get Sharp Energy bringing propane down and putting it into the individual tanks. The individual tanks keep discussing, just like Marty Clark used to, that it's like 60% of the cost of what we're paying through the pipeline. Have you interchanged anything of this? I know there's a cost structure set up when they go to natural gas. But in the meantime, is there any reason why it should cost more to put it in bulk into our pipelines as it is to put it in individual tanks? Because I know a lot of people are putting it in, which I don't think is great for the community, but it's great for the public.
Okay.
That's a long question.
No. You're basically asking why the price is what it is for the fuel being supplied by the pipeline right now, or why the price is higher versus a tank fuel. One of the things that Sandpiper did, and I'm going to be real brief, I don't want to get in a lot of detail, but it's a good question. One of the things that occurred, Sandpiper bring natural gas to Worcester County, had to negotiate with the PSC, Public Service Commission. In doing so, they had to negotiate how they were going to deliver to the residents of Worcester County. Part of that deal with the negotiation was the cost structure associated with it. Okay, so there were a number of steps that go into that. Developing that cost structure included conversions for folks in homes that may not have appliances that are convertible. Okay, so give you an example. You're in a home that may be 25 years old, and it may have a hot water heater that's not convertible. You can't change the orifice to go from natural gas to propane or vice versa. So that means that appliance has to be replaced. Well, the deal that Sandpiper negotiated with the PSC to bring it to Worcester County was they'll provide the replacement of that water tank when they come to your home to convert it. That cost of replacement of that water tank is passed on to everyone through the negotiated rate with Sandpiper. So you're seeing a slightly artificially higher rates right now because of the conversion costs being built in to bring it to Worcester County as a whole.
Now, forget the conversion at this time. I'm just talking about straight right now, cost of propane coming through our pipes versus cost of propane being delivered to individual tanks.
Okay, it's more expensive.
Companies under Chesapeake Utilities.
It's more expensive because being piped through the pipeline right now is part of the Sandpiper deal is the expense of it across all of Worcester County. Is everyone's paying. Berlin folks right now that have been converted are paying the same rate we're paying.
I think, I'm sorry. I think we're missing a question that we have. Forget the idea of natural gas. There's a lot of people going to be on propane for a number of years yet.
Okay.
Yes.
And their price is substantially higher when they deliver in bulk or pipe.
Agreed.
And that's not controlled by the Public Utilities Commission.
It absolutely is. If it's through the pipeline, you can say no. I'm giving you the answer. I'll give up
propane.
the propane delivery right now. You're on the pipeline. The pipeline's a Sandpiper pipeline as of now. Any delivery, whether it's propane or natural, the price is a blended price. So everyone gets the same rate.
Okay, but everybody was on propane, right?
Yes?
And at that point in time, whatever gallon propane is delivered to a guy's door in a tank is substantially cheaper from a Chesapeake utility company, Sharp is one,
Yes.
versus what's coming through, which used to be
ESG, Eastern Shore Gas.
Yeah, and I don't understand that disparity. I mean, I've heard Marty Clark's explanation. I hate to say that, but I've heard Marty's, and I don't want to repeat it.
Okay.
But is anybody questioning why in the meantime? I mean, I've taken care of myself.
I question. Okay, let me be clear. I've been in closed door sessions for almost 80 days now. I've questioned extensively. The answer I'm giving you is factual, accurate, to the point. We can talk outside of it.
Yeah, but that's talking about averaging. This is talking about the presentation, the conversion of natural gas. This isn't addressing the propane issue right now.
Okay. How about we do it after the meeting? I'll be happy to spend time to discuss it. But it's a blended. I do know it's a blended price. What you're getting is a blended price with all of the conversions in Worcester County are being rolled into the cost for all of us paying, whether you're paying a unit of propane or a unit of natural gas. We're already paying.
We were paying conversion prices before they even thought about natural gas.
That's right.
Yes, it's a blended rate. When they broke into Worcester County, when they made that border crossing in the county, deal is it's now blended rate for all of us.
Yeah, but it was.
I know where you are. I'm telling you the answer.
Well,
That's
your
definitive.
answer is I know where you're going. The answer is nobody can explain that disparity.
I think what this gentleman is saying, that propane delivery through pipeline is expensive. Propane delivery through tank.
I
Right,
agree.
right, it is.
For the fourth time, I agree.
He is asking why.
Because
You're
of
not giving him a
conversion.
straight answer.
Because of conversion.
Right.
It's that simple.
We're paying ahead of time for.
You're saying no.
The conversion price set in the biomass it's very nominal relative to the total amount we're paying right now.
Okay.
We are paying substantially higher rates for our propane coming through the pipeline than people are by the phone marketplace through Sharp.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And when we all
There should be a very simple answer for that.
That is the, okay, here's what I can tell you all. I will have, because this would take apparently all night, and I'm not being sarcastic. Yeah, I will do a separate meeting to re-explain this. But what I've said will be the same again. We'll just break it down different. Okay, I may not be
I'm sorry, Bob, but your answer does not explain the basic question.
Okay.
Why does propane cost more coming through the pipeline
Okay.
before conversion?
Okay, let's hear this out. I'm going to do it. No. I hear you. I hear the question very clearly. There's a cost. Okay, I'm going to do it one more time. There's a cost to bring propane to Worcester County, or to natural gas for propane. The propane, let's all agree to this. If you buy it by tank right now, go to Sharp, which is a part of, you're right, part of Chesapeake. You can buy it by tank cheap.
Yes.
Everybody agree with
Yes.
that, right? I agree with you.
And
No question.
And a lot of people have already switched.
I
And
understand.
they probably won't go back to
Well,
Chesapeake.
I understand all that. I'm just giving you the facts. I know it's cheaper. Use Suburban, whoever else you want to use, it's cheaper by tank right now.
Right.
Okay, we all agree with that.
Yes.
Now, well, part of the agreement for them to bring it to us, bring natural gas to Worcester County through the pipeline, no tanks, through the pipeline, everyone has to be converted. So when they start converting, it would be unfair for the first community to get converted and the last community. So part of the deal with the PSC, they blend the rate, the natural gas price and the propane price.
You're mixing apples and oranges right now.
Okay, well, okay. Here's what I can tell you. I can't explain it any clearer right now, so I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass on any of those further questions.
About natural gas.
My meeting could take all night. I'm very clear on my answer. I'm sorry I'm not explaining it well. Oh, I'm going to come here. He has his hand up, and I'm back.
Based on what you're saying, though, our board is unwilling, unable, or whatever to actually work a deal like you're saying here. But we can be paying for conversion rates that we'll never need to use the rest of our life.
That would be a fair question, but I can absolutely tell you definitively the board is not only, you said unwilling or unable, factually inaccurate. They're extremely engaged right now and want to get this done.
Well, they haven't been.
I can't. I said June back. I don't care, but not my fight. June forward, I've been directly engaged. Our board wants to figure this out as quickly as possible. I can assure you of that. Now, you talk to your individual board members or come to a board meeting and ask them. But from my perspective, they're very engaged, been very inquisitive, and made sure that we went back and asked the right questions as many times as we needed to get the factual information to bring it to the members. So I'm very pleased with where we are, and I believe the board is comfortable with the momentum we have.
I'm holding together duct tape right now. I'd rather have paperwork replace it than me.
I'm with you.
And
I'm
since I don't know
getting
which-
the calls.
And since I don't know which gas it is, you don't even know which kind of.
I know. But the new ones, the majority of the new ones, the orifice can be switched either way. Just so you all know, the majority of your appliance, the new appliance. Yeah, you're right. And I'll come back here and I'll come this way. Yes, sir.
The gas that comes through the pipeline, regardless of whether it's natural propane,
Yes, sir.
is a PSC regulated price.
Yes, sir.
And the gas that is delivered to a tank in your yard is not subject to PSC regulation.
That is correct.
And that is the answer.
Yeah. He summarized.
That's correct. That's absolutely
And
correct.
I've heard you say, I don't know what the difficulty is.
Well, again, I'll be happy after this because I know it's a intense subject. I will tell you, we are moving forward. A lot of progress is being made, and the board is very forward-thinking to get this done.
Two things. Number one, I know if you're through the meter pipeline,
Yes.
we're paying the blended rate.
Yes.
We're not the last ones though. We on the blended feed when it goes to natural gas. How long will it be? Let's say that we get an agreement and we start natural gas. How many more people are after us?
Ooh, I don't know the exact number. I know they've gone all the way around us. They just inked a deal with Ocean City, take it to Ocean City, and we're getting close on ours. So they've hopped all the way around.
How long though do you think everybody's on natural gas?
You know, I don't even want to venture to guess because it would be made up, and I just can't do that. Yeah, well, I'll give you this definitively. Okay, just this may help you as well. It will take them more than 2 years to convert Ocean Pines alone. Okay, just so you all know.
There goes my duct tape.
Well, but here, no, but I'm again, I'm going to shoot 100% straight. Everything that talking with them, everything it looks like because of the size of our community, it's going to be 24, 36, 48-month range, depending on how quickly we get the deal. And then from there, everything they need to do for a community of our size. Now, the upside is they have made a lot of progress because we're not the first community, so they've had some bumps and bruises with some of the smaller communities around us, and they've learned from that, and now it's a pretty good system they have, at least that's what they're sharing. And I have not only talked to their senior level, I've talked to their folks on the ground actually doing the conversion. So I'm getting direct feedback from both levels and getting the same answer.
And by the way, I mean, just when you don't understand the pricing and everything, the easiest way to describe it is, like you said, government contracts. There's the right way, the wrong way in the government.
No comment. I can't.
You don't have to comment, but I mean, that's the reality.
So, long and short, the board has the framework for an agreement. Both boards are looking at it. We have made, I believe, significant progress in recent months. The board is engaged. The board is interested in moving it forward. And once the deal whenever the deal gets inked, it's probably 2 to 3 years before the entire community, could be as long as 4 years, based on how it goes, before all the homes are converted. Okay, so they're facts.
What was the long period?
The longest 48 months. I can't give you a definitive. They're guessing 3 years. But now you say that. Now think about it, though. 3 years may be for the entire community, but we have not gotten to the point, because we don't have a deal signed yet, of where they're going to start. So you could be on the front end or the back end. It's going to depend on how they start and how they deliver. That'll be, once we get a deal in place, that will be the next thing we obviously have to work out. And one of the things in part of our talks are how we're going to communicate that effectively coming out of the gate. Once the deal, and that's something the board has been very heavy pushing on to make sure, okay, let's say we do structure it, how do we let our membership know? What things can we do to engage to make sure you all get the accurate, updated information so you can make these decisions? Buy another roll of duct tape or go buy a tank? I mean, that's really, and we need to help you with that. So we're going to do the best we can with it. I'll take one more on it, now go to the next step.
What is your recommendation for the board?
Well, since I have had my hands all over it, my recommendation is please accept it and let's keep moving. How's that? No, I've taken the board's input, and we've gone back and forth a couple of times. I think we have a good framework. There's a couple of issues we're still trying to iron out. I just don't think it's done. We had a great meeting last week with our board to go over some things, and we're now it's down to the nitty-gritty and trying to get those worked out, and they're working on their side, and we're kind of meeting and going through it. But I will tell you progress is being made, and everyone's actively engaged in it. Okay.
You skipped over.
What's that?
You skipped over.
I'm sorry, I did. Okay. I'll let yours be last because I did skip over.
I've got an easy one.
No is the answer. Next. Which one do you have?
What is the extent of involvement of Chesapeake Utilities per se as an organization in our issue?
What is the extent of involvement?
Chesapeake Utility. I hear Chesapeake Utility
they
all the
own
time.
Sandpiper.
Are they just a name somewhere?
No. Okay.
What
Just for
influence do they
understanding. For understanding, Chesapeake is the parent company. Okay, and then you have two arms of Chesapeake that impact it: Sharp Energy, which is their propane, and then Sandpiper. Sandpiper acquired, or Chesapeake acquired Eastern Shore Gas, and when they did, they created a subsidiary, Sandpiper Energy, for natural gas delivery. Now, because they own both right now, they're pumping propane through our lines because they can, because Chesapeake has both. So Chesapeake's your parent, and you have your two arms. Natural gas will be delivered through Sandpiper Energy.
I guess my question is political. To what extent
Political.
are they? To what extent is Chesapeake Utility influencing what happens to us?
The parent company of
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Do you know that? Are they sort of off on the left field and don't say boo unless they have to, or
Oh no, they're
daily influence?
No, their board. My counterpart I'm working with is dealing directly with their,
So it's Chesapeake Utility.
and it's good. I mean, I will tell you, it's been a good. Everything's been good on both sides. I feel very good about where we are.
Okay, next subject.
Okay, Ms. Ann said keep moving. And I know it's hard to trust me. I don't want to upset Ms. Ann. Oh, there you go. We're currently talking about it, so it's actually moving well. Okay, some quick just oversight on some capital projects. We've had some questions lately. The Racket Sports Complex. This is the best way to show it to you, and I know it's kind of small up here. If you want to get more detail, come to my office. I'll show you. We actually have this up on the board. But long and short, what what we have here, just so as you're looking at it, you're coming in, the ball field's on this side, this is the community garden area, okay?
Yeah.
On the right side, the yellow is the changes that are due to occur, okay? This is the current playground that's there. It will be moved to this box. This is where pickleball is supposed to go. Okay, everybody see that? So from there, this parking lot, which is currently an L shape, actually comes into a rectangle. By that design, we pick up more front-end parking spots. So this is the design. At the top, the two yellow are the proposed platform, the new platform tennis courts. Okay, so that's what's underway. That's what's going through the approval process with the county and the state. Once that's approved, we'll put out for bid. We're actually kind of working part of the bid process to get the final cost because we'll have to send it out for contract. And when we do that, then it'll go back to the board for approval. Okay?
What happens to the playground?
The playground moves. The big yellow box on top.
But it will be there.
What's it?
Whole facility will be there.
Yes, it will be there. And the playground, interestingly enough, the uprights on the playground needed to be replaced. We already budgeted for that, and we bought the uprights that go into the ground. So we knew they were going to have to be replaced. They're sitting in our public works yard. But I don't want to start with, because I don't want to move it twice, because every time you move, you're loosening things, and it's a big playground. So before we move from here to here with the site, we need site work done, and then we'll mount the uprights, and then we'll take the other one apart and start moving it over so it's right there on site. So we have a plan to make that happen. That will be one of the first things we address. We already have what we need there once we do the site work. Yes, ma'am.
What's been the effect on the community gardens? Have they lost space? Or
No, actually they haven't, and they've been great to work with. Part of our timing with community gardens was timing of implementation was so the gardens actually had the least amount of disruption. So if we can get the approval, either way, we're going to break the playground down to do the upright. So if we get the approval, we'll get the playground moved over. What happens, the access to the community gardens is right here now. We're moving the access to here. Well, they brought in, and I met with them about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. They gave me all the plats in there. So the couple plats here there are spots here that don't have plats because it's access, and there's 6 or 8 here that are going to have, we're just moving them over there. And we're doing it at the time when it's a non-growing season.
Right, good.
And we've told them we'll help them put the plats back in, move the dirt and everything, which they typically would have to do, but we'll do it quick with the Bobcat and be done with it. And they were fine.
Great.
Okay? You're not with community gardens, are you?
I've been with community gardens for many, many
All
years.
right, sound good?
For like 20 years.
Okay, I often step, it's like, no, but Mr. Phillip.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I met with
good
him.
guy.
And we walked it, and that worked. And he gave me a great, where all the plats were, so that actually was helpful. Okay? And you actually pick up some parking. The parking lot gets a little bit bigger. You get some more front-end parking.
You're not going to mess with one, don't
Yes. Yeah, that's where no, right? We're not touching the dog park.
Don't mess with my dog.
Yes, sir.
Have you visited the complex?
I was here last night. They're pretty regular.
Seen the flower beds over there? They are worse shape.
The flower beds are in worse shape. When we're in the process of changing from summer to fall flowers, they're coming
During
in.
summer, it's flourishing.
Okay.
So what
Thanks.
is nothing. I don't know who is supervising.
Well, the public works team's doing it, but we're also, I don't know if you noticed, we've had a major leak over there with a pipe that's underground that broke.
That is the reason. Whole summer, the flower bed, worse shape.
Okay.
You come with me and I will show you.
I've seen them. I actually go out and look at them regular.
No. Where the park?
Okay.
You go over there with the park visit. Push little bit. This size, push behind this size. And what? Yellow and dark. The same with this size. I put it back. So
You must have more fertilizer than we do.
So
We can go look. I mean, our team does a good job with it.
They
So
are not maintained. They are maintained.
okay, I appreciate the
You
insight.
go and look, and then you
I
put some less.
appreciate the insight. Okay, bridges. Another. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
The actual court did it
For which sport?
for you, for all of them.
Well, $1 million question. Not really million, but Okay. This section here is for the pickleball courts.
Okay.
This plat is big enough for 8 courts.
Okay.
Okay? Just the design, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, just to get your bearings about it.
Okay.
The 2 yellow up here, okay, and actually I have, I should have scanned, I have a little bit newer drawing that we submitted to the county where the 2 yellow have shifted just a little bit because the parking lot tilted a little. And we have 2 proposed ones. So where the 2 yellow up top, they're actually lined up straighter. And there's 2 right, so there's 2 that are to go in and designing for stormwater and future development for 2 more in the future. So 4 pickleball courts, potentially 8 right now with the big plat next to the playground, and platform tennis 2 courts with the potential of 2 more. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the 2 yellow on the left side, there's actually 2. When that parking lot shifts, the 2 additional ones that are below it, they're lined up directly, so they fit on the site. How are you? It's been a long time. I haven't even gotten an email about anything. Everything well? Till now, let's see. Yes, ma'am.
Is there some reason that's when rackets not historically they were all screened back in the day, but there's no field place in Ocean Heights, and there are 4 courts there, and I've watched play too. That's why maybe resurfacing.
No, we looked at resurfacing them. One of the challenges with resurfacing there is because of the winds there, it does apparently have an impact on the playability. Even with screen, we talked about that. That was that was actually our first option that we looked at. But apparently, and again, I don't. That's not a sport I play yet. But apparently, the winds, even with the screens up, because of the way they whip around there, impact that type of play. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, it was a good question. I had the same. That's where we were going to go at first. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Bob, it might be helpful if you could describe how all the various racket sports representatives came together in the process and how long that process took to develop this and everybody agree on this concept.
Yeah, it was a long process, back and forth, because everyone always says, we all do, we kind of claim our territory. You didn't want to cross over. And what happened over about a year and a half, everyone working together, we went from a tennis committee to a racket sport committee with representatives from pickle, platform, and tennis. And they all got together and the design came up. As a matter of fact, and Pete, that's a good point, thank you, the tennis folks who I've got to tell you, and some of you may be in the room, are extremely territorial, have been very flexible and engaging with this from a point where using the back 4 courts are now lined where the pickleball is playing, so everyone's working together to get to eventually this point. So there's been a lot of cooperation amongst the 3 activities.
A lot of give and take and cooperation.
They helped us come up with the design, actually.
This might help you point better instead of stretching.
I like to stretch. I like to recite. Thank you, Miss Anna. It doesn't say yacht club, though. Where'd you get this? That's not.
I don't know where I got it from.
I hope not to point too much, but thank you. All right, bridges. Quick update on the bridges. We are working, we have the bridges just for understanding. When you leave here and you go down the first bridge across before you go under 90, that's one of the bridges. And if you make a right on Clubhouse Drive as you're going to the golf course, that's the second bridge. They are the 2 bridges that we're paying attention to right now that we're running parallel paths. When I say parallel path, first thing we're doing is we're looking to take the immediate action items that was in the Gannett Fleming report that we received with the conditions of the bridge that need to be fixed, repaired, updated. In addition to that, we're also looking at what it takes to replace, how to get our programming scheduled for bridge replacement. So it's a parallel path. We've met with the county folks, Public Works, actually one of our county commissioners had a talk about it, running the parallel paths, what options we might be able to do. So there's a number of things occurring right now that impact bridges. So our first objective right now, Ms. Anna, you said right here, I know where it is if I need it, thank you. The first objective is to take the Gannett Fleming report, which is the engineering study that we're working from, and have that immediate action work completed. So that's where we are. And again, we're running a parallel path. We'll know a lot more in the next couple months on which direction we're heading with the bridges. One of the other major projects we're looking at this year is information technology. That impacts everything we do. Interesting tidbit 2 weeks ago, where I'm promised with the phones bouncing around, and the Intercom individual who I've gotten to know over the last 5 years was in, and he pulled me, grabbed me right in the lobby, says, "Bob, I'm done. I can't steal, borrow, beg from any other place to fix this 20-plus-year-old system. You need to get a new system. Whether I sell it or not, I don't care, but it's falling apart." So that's part of, if you know the new phone systems, they're also tied to your technology system. So we're kind of looking at a whole host of things to upgrade information technology. So it's something we're taking a hard look at right now, and we have it budgeted. Now, Miss Anna, you handed me what's in the stick to stop? There you go. Oh, I know what, I can tell you why it slowed down. Art hates who I talk lead flag. Anybody knows Art? 35-plus years doing it. Lead flags are really bothersome because of the amount of money we spend on leads. But it's something we need to talk about. It's that time of year leaves are starting to fall. So I thought I'd point some things out. Bag leaves, and this will all be in the newsletter coming out and on the website. If you bag your leaves, and people get upset, but think about this. We have trash service that comes twice a week, Republican. Part of that trash service is to pick up up to 4 additional bags of debris. So if you want to help yourself, bag 8, do 8 bags a week and put it 4 and 4, and they'll pick it up in addition to your regular trash. In addition to that, something we started 3 years ago is we started leasing a truck from Ocean City, a trash truck, and we actually have a crew that mans it, and we run the opposite schedule that the trash service does. So we pick up on the opposite side. So if they're in North End, if Republic's in North End, we're going to be in the South End picking up on the opposite days, and we'll take as many as you bag. You just need to put it in brown bags, paper bags. Apparently, with the landfill, the plastic bags are creating a huge problem for everybody, and the cost is almost double. So if you bag your own and you put them in paper, on the opposite days, we'll come pick those up. Okay, so we're a joint effort. It worked real well last year and the year before that. The guys are getting more and more proficient with the truck. Ocean City's been great to work with. We lease it at nominal cost. We just have to gas it, and we have to do all the maintenance or anything to do at the time. But they've been great to work with, and it seems to work. In addition to that, if you have branches or leaves or anything like that, you can bundle sticks or whatever up. Sounds like Republic will take that as well. So there are a number of options that work for you. We're also going to, as we've done every year in the last 3 years, open the yard up at Public Works, where you can bring stuff to us. If you don't want to wait for your trash service, or you just want to get it out because you got coming down, you can bring them to us. The only thing we ask, don't put them outside of the gates of the yard. Some people do that. Trust me, we have cameras. I will come get you. The police. We put them up last year because people dump stuff, and it's just a nightmare for all of us. So please, make sure that you come when it's open. We're happy to help you, but you got to help us. We're all in it together. Yes, sir.
Are you going to be able to give us a better schedule on when the vacuum trucks are coming on?
No, and that's actually a good question. The question was, can I give a better schedule on the vac trucks that go by?
Too early. Down.
Yeah, here's the challenge with the vac truck. The question comes in: if I rake my leaves out, so we can vacuum them quick, can you give me a more definitive schedule to get it? The challenge we have is it's so dependent on weather conditions that if it's a wet conditions, the truck has to be empty 3 or 4 times quicker than if they're bone dry. And what it does is it's based on weather conditions on how quick they can get those up. And the other thing that does impact us, and I'm sure it's no one in this room, some people think they can rake from the side of their house all the way out and the piles get this high. That's not what the truck's for. The truck's to keep the stormwater management or ditches clear. So when people do that, that also slows it down. So we've tried to come up with a definitive, we're going to be on this street, this street, this street. It's just not humanly possible because it depends on how quickly the truck fills. And then, obviously, you run to the yard and dump it, you come back, you've lost an hour of time. And that just throws everything out. 70 miles of roads means 140 miles of stormwater ditches that we maintain. It creates a lot of challenge on a timing issue. Because I'm very much a timing guy. I would love to have it set. We've tried. It's just tough.
The high winds always come the day before the truck comes.
Bob, is there any mulch available in Ocean Pines?
Not at this moment. We may have some after this program starts because we grind everything up, a good portion of it. So you can just call Public Works and see if they have it. Okay? So make sure you take a look, Teresa. I know I was supposed to hit everything on there. All right. Okay, this one, I wanted to just spend a couple minutes. We had a recent weather event that impacted us. And early in the summer, late spring, early summer, I was asked to talk about how we handle weather incidents, hurricanes, those type of things. And I did with a small group, and they said, look, please at your next town hall meeting, put it out there. So I said, all right, I'll put something together, just a few minutes to explain how it works. Most people have no idea what happens during a hurricane or a nor'easter, and this weekend was a great example of summer. Just take a couple minutes and share that with them. We doing okay speed-wise? I'm trying not to go too fast, but I don't want to slow down because some of it's dry for some folks. Okay. One of the things you all may not know is we actually go into emergency operations. And when I say emergency operations, coordination between myself, fire department, police department, public works, and all the departments goes into effect as soon as our awareness level increases for a hurricane, a nor'easter, or any weather event impacting our community. This also includes a storm, the snowstorms that have come through. When those things come, when we have impact like that, it impacts all of us, we go into kind of this emergency mode. Things that occur. You all start seeing it at the same time we do. The local weather starts putting up, National Weather Service, and particular hurricane weather, the National Weather Service, NOAA, all these things start predicting and seeing. And the recent hurricane was a great example. When then we had the combination of the nor'easter blowing up just ahead of it. So the impact, those type of things. Well, we were already starting to spin up or gen up or make ready our team. We also independently validate. You all see, the local 47 or Channel 6, WBOC, or you go to the National Weather Service. Well, we're paying off that, but we also have other services we look at. The one, grassroots weather, is one that our superintendent of our golf course actually brought to us a few years ago. That's one they subscribe to. And that, Herb, and I can't think of his last name, but he was with National Weather Service, and he has his own site that does it. So we start paying, in addition to what the county gives us and what state gives us, we start doing our own analysis to see how quick it's going to get here, and we compare everything. And we start ramping up. We work with the Worcester County Emergency Operations Center, who also the elevations to MEMA, and I'm going to show you how some of this happens. The first thing that happens when we know we have an impending event, we go into team activation. First meetings begin with myself, police department, it's police chief, fire chief, head of public works, and public relations. And again, everyone has a role to play right out of the gate. First thing that we all start to do is type of event, timing of the event, the potential needs, that could be impacted based on whatever the event may be. And then we start to develop action plans associated with that. Then we start to look at the resources each of us will need to move forward based on whatever the weather event is coming on. Now, those factors on the right remain the same the next 3 slides, because what's interesting, next thing will happen is the county emergency operations center kicks on. And when they kick up, 3 of us typically go down and start doing regular briefings at the county emergency operations center in Snow Hill. That's myself, fire chief, and police chief. And we start writing down the same types of things we're looking at. We're getting feedback from the county, what they're seeing, what they're feeling, things they're bracing for. And what's really, really interesting, when you're looking at the resource allocation and the needs, everyone's kind of looking who's got what can happen. The fire departments, the EMS folks are there, the police agencies are there, kind of like us, but on a county level. And then all the jurisdictions are there. So it's an interesting ramp up when these things start to occur. From there, we then start genning up what we need to do. Again, this is knowing whatever the event's getting closer, things are ramping up. We start bringing our department heads in, and everyone plays a role when we go into emergency operations. Most of you probably don't know, we actually set up right over here, and our boardroom converts into our emergency center. We don't have a formal. We had phone lines 3-4 years ago rerouted where we can actually manually throw a switch in our phone room and activate 5 phones that we sit on the board table. And when that happens, we actually have whiteboards that go up. Not when we throw a switch. We can't carry them in. We're not that sophisticated. I don't want to say, wow, he's pushing buttons, but so what happens, and then each of the areas, police department, fire department, as well as Public Works, has a representative in the Emergency Operations Center, and the phones are forwarded from their desks to that center. That's extremely important during a response or during the emergency, so we can keep track of our resources and manpower. If you have to call across and who's where and who's there, it's inefficient, ineffective. So by having us all together, we can deploy the resources appropriately. Working with the department heads, and again, we're doing the same resource allocation. Working the department heads, things you all don't see. During Hurricane Sandy, and I'm going to give you a little update on that, but we're gearing up for this with the latest event. One of the things we do is we start to identify things like food service. We talk with the yacht club, because if we have crews out all night, we had crews out all night through the last event. Most people don't even know that. We had 6 trees fall crossing the roadway. No, most people don't see it or know it. Our team's out there doing the work. And what happens is, yacht club, we usually spin them up to a big pot of beef stew, a big pot of food, and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, whatever. These are things that start to occur, so we can feed our teams. We also bring some of the chase lounges from Swim and Racket or the yacht club or wherever, depending on the time of year, and we actually will stack them in the gym for bed down if we need it. There are a lot of things that start happening you all never see or even know about, but we just do it. And if you've been involved in emergency responses, and I did it for a long time in the military, you need to be able to provide for yourself first. And the county has resources, but Hurricane Sandy was a great proof of it. Thank goodness we were blessed and went north. But we actually tracked that and the impact up in Egg Harbor and some of the others. There are only so many resources. The county, the state, the feds, there's only so much time they get to you, so as much as we can ramp up and be prepared for it. So we start gearing at that level every time an event occurs. You all don't see it or know it, but we start preparing. So we did that this time. And during the event, we did updates. Now, this time we didn't have a FEMA. FEMA wasn't part of the recent one, but during Sandy it was. But then we go with from MEMA, Maryland Emergency Management Agency. We deal with them, and we deal with them through the county at the Emergency Operations Center. What's really neat is you go in, you see it downstairs to the Emergency Center, and there's conference calls that start occurring as the event gets closer and closer than during the event. And the flooding, and in this case it was flooding, rainfall, and wind conditions, similar to Hurricane Sandy, and that gets tracked, and things get requested. During the early stages, you can request. Hurricane Sandy is an example. We were the only community at the time that requested swiftwater rescue team, point-in-time generator, and what I call six-pack, a big army or like an army truck. I forget the name, but six-pack's what we always call it. Big truck. The base of the truck's about this high for the flooding, water type stuff, and that gets mobilized deuce and a half. So we had requested those, and we got granted the swiftwater rescue team and the deuce and a half. We did not get the generator, which would have been something again. It's kind of a high-end request, but knowing if we went down as a community, having a point-in-time generator would have been a necessity. So anyway, so during those events, we request those. So this time, it was funny because when we went to the EOC, one of the things is, okay, who needs swiftwater rescue? Well, now we have, since Sandy Port, we actually trained swiftwater rescue. So we had the ability to meet those more initial needs, and our team was requested to be on standby to help some of the other communities, which was very interesting. So there's a lot of things, a lot of sharing that happen and resource sharing. But we do that, and most of you never see it or even know about because it's not anything that would be involved. We just kind of start making those things happen. The next thing is we deal directly with Worcester County. Again, this is kind of the levels it comes down through. Obviously, the Worcester County Emergency Services folks, and that's Fred Webster, and they do a great job down there. And then local jurisdictions you deal with, Pocomoke, Snow Hill, Berlin, Ocean City. Ocean City has their own office and their own command center set up. They've got a pretty good deal there. So we all just start working together as these events come up and start to occur. I thought I'd show you, these are the briefings we get on a pretty regular basis. What happens prior to an event, you get the briefings start coming every 24 hours. As the event gets a little closer, it starts to increase to every 12 hours, then it increases to every 6 hours. You go down to the command center and you get a conference call, and it's really, what actually occurs, it's pretty interesting. Conference table, conference call in the middle, all the jurisdictions are represented to include Public Works for the county, Public Works for us, or Public Works for the county, emergency services for all the jurisdictions. And then MEMA gets on the line, from all of the state. So we get to hear needs. The nor'easter that just recently occurred, we're hearing needs for their different locations in the state. We're in regions. We're in the coastal region, so our weather center is Wakefield out of Virginia. That's the one that impacts us. But we were hearing the Frederick Hagerstown team, the Southern Maryland team, because the nor'easter coming up was impacting all of them. So you get the impact. The state police are on the line. They give an update. During Hurricane Sandy, the Guard was on the line. The general from the Maryland Guard. We had this time the transportation authorities on the line. During Sandy, they were on the line, and the governor's office was on the line. So you have all the critical players to move assets around as these events occurs, and we're one of the teams represented. So they start doing the briefings. They give us an update on what's happening with their seat. A lot of this you'll see on TV, and then we kind of get some of the additional information, obviously, because the emergency team. They just give us updates of what's happening throughout the event, where the potential impacts are, the zone, how it's going to impact us, the flooding conditions, how it impacts the entire county, what type of resources, Crisfield's going to need, we may need, Ocean City may need, and the track, and again, these updates start increasing more and more, and then obviously the models. You see a lot of those things on the National Hurricane Center or the National Weather Service, if you get online and watch it. These get a little more specific to the areas. The Wakefield, it's a resource center, National Weather Service, that's ours. We also rely on state resources, state police, I already mentioned all those. When those events are happening, we're also, for our community, we have our team set up, we have our folks out, Public Works, huge job, they cut down, they actually cut up 6 trees that were crossing our roadways, several over the parkways. What's interesting, most people think the pine trees. Anybody really know the most trees that typically fall during the event? What? Loblolly, what else did? I thought it was pines. It's not pines. No, it's the oak. The oak seems to be the one. The oaks, interesting, and just it's a tidbit. The oak trees, they don't. The roots don't go down; they spread out. And when we watch now, and one of the things we track real close is how much rain we've had in a period of time before the high winds hit. And we're getting pretty good at predicting when to bring the teams in before the tree falls over, before we start having the breaches because of the types of trees, the mix of trees we have. And the pines have a long spike that goes down. The other types of trees start to spread out. And because when the wind blows and it's wet conditions, and it's been wet for a few days, Sandy proved that to us. And they topple over. We were on Capitol Road during Hurricane Sandy. There were 8 of us out there cutting up 2 trees that had fallen over, and we have to keep. People say, "Well, why are you out in the conditions?" If we don't keep the roads clear, emergency services can't get to you. I mean, it's really that simple. So if you have a dire need and they can't, we just can't afford that. We're actually cutting out 2 big trees that fall, and thank goodness Gavin was in the truck. When another tree right in the middle, it came down. He hit it, reversed it, came right across the hood and clipped the mirror, but if it had stayed, it across the cab. But this is what your teams are out there, and people don't even see it or know about. That happened. But they're out there keeping the roads clear. We had crews in last weekend for this one because we had 6 trees go. Most were pretty quick. There were smaller ones. We did have one big one. It took about an hour for them to get cleared up, just there was so much. So these things are happening. We work on work-rest cycles for the teams. Once our crews come in, typically for the events, like Hurricane Sandy, we were here for 72 hours. And one of the things we tell our guys and gals just before the incident occurs, go home, take care of whatever you have to, because once you're here, you're here. I mean, that's just part of emergency services. It's not that we're locking you down, but you've got to get your family taken care of so that you can focus on.
Sorry, I have to go to choir practice.
Enjoy your singing, Pat. Good to see you. So those things occur. So there's action items we do, and we're continually trying to update those. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for the alerts, because they were really helpful, and I love that you're numbering, because we know when you number them 1 to whatever, that we're getting the most up to date. And I work outside of this, so it's really helpful for me to know that I get back.
Yeah, no, thanks for
the
that.
healers really, and the photos. I know a lot of people commented, "Thank you for posting photos." They don't live here.
Right.
They're wondering what's happening with their property.
we've learned over the last 3 or 4 years what that, like the numbering.
That was
Things that every time we do after action of what we could do better, types of things. Sandy was a great learning tool for us. Again, thank goodness it went north, but you learn. You do a takeaway. All of us meet after the events, after everyone's got some rest. We do a takeaway. We figure out where to make the improvements. So we're constantly trying to update and improve and stay on top of making. Other things we look at, we get some very specific rainfall conditions, saturation rate. That's important for us with the winds. They give us amount of inches of rain. We get data from all different sources coming at us all the time. We start throwing it up on the whiteboards. We start moving some things around. It helps us know where to deploy. The other thing that paying attention, you'll see, but if you're not, you don't even think about it. You end up seeing 2 or 3 trucks and a backhoe sitting up here. We start deploying our assets all around the community. They're not in the public works yard when the event hits. Typically, it's spread out. People say, well, won't that get damaged? I'd rather have a truck sitting over here get damaged than they all be locked in public works or just off the parkway somewhere because they're all in one spot and something hits us and I can't get them out mobilized and help. So we again, military, we did the same thing. You mobilize, spread your assets wherever you can. So if one goes down, you're able to deploy from a different direction. So those things occur during the events. You all don't see them, but we have different spots where we deploy the assets so we know we can readily get to them if the need arises. Those type of things are happening and you all don't get to see them. So recent event, we had the breach of the bulkheads, but it wasn't catastrophic. It was mostly due to tidal surge. And because of the nor'easter blowing it up, the water didn't get to recede back out, so we had to go through a couple of tide cycles before it actually finished up. This is one of the trees at night that dropped down, and they were, again, this is kind of normal around here. These type of things happen. There was just some shots in Ocean City that we thought, they were on you can go right online, don't go online and look, but you see how flooded Ocean City was. This was kind of brutal looking. Kind of scary when you think coastal community, how close we are, but that tidal surge with everything blowing in, Sandy proved I keep going back to that, learned so much from that. And that was one, the thing that folks need to remember, the weather event is typically a day or 2, maybe 3. It's the relief afterwards, the recovery time that takes the longest. Folks in Egg Harbor, Snug Harbor, and all the areas up in Jersey that were hit, we actually, because we were spared, I remember we had debris and stuff, we didn't really, a lot of our community members had prepared, and they donated clothing and batteries and flashlights. We actually had a tractor trailer, 2 large stake beds, and a couple other vehicles, and we went up to the hit area after that. Chip went with us. Remember that, Chip? This is some of the things we saw where the homes were completely, water was up to the 2nd story. Everything in the homes was out in the yard. It was such a humbling and just, people sitting out on their front porch and their whole life was gone. Just destroyed it's just brutal when you see some of the stuff. So we recognize, I just put them because we all remember, and that was our public works yard when we were loading boxes and getting in the community. Really, we all were trying to prepare for it, and when we didn't get hit, the community really stepped up and helped us. So then we went and helped another community, kind of pay it forward type of thing. So we're familiar with what that means, and that's why it takes a lot of attention during the event. So you all might not know everything to do, but the folks are out there, so you all are as safe as we can possibly make during this type of events. All right. Something a little more fun. We're moving forward with something we're calling a Residence Academy. This has come from some other communities that do it. I took bullets on this one. I knew I'd forget some of the items, but it's going to be a 6 to 8 week academy where we're going to have, and some folks have already signed up. It's going to be the first one will be limited. They'll all be limited space. I have to say that. That's not sales pitch to get you to come, not at all. But we're going to try it, and what we're going to do is try to educate on the community where you live in. Some of these type of things, we're going to have department heads come in and tell you a little more about what they do. You can ask them directly, and a more fun, more engaging, where you're not coming in upset about something or coming in because something's not working. Kind of learn who to talk to and why it works and what they do and that type of thing. We'll talk to you about the budgeting process, volunteer, things that you can volunteer for, committees, and those type of things. So it's a 6 to 8 week academy. So we've reached out some other, it's one of those best practices things that other communities do it. Del Rey is one that Teresa is very familiar with, and they do it. It's extremely successful. So we're going to give that a shot. And you'll start seeing information in the newsletter and on the website about it. So if you have interest, make sure you jump in, because the first one will fill up. We've already gotten a lot of people asking about it.
When is the
We don't have the date set yet, right, Trace? We don't have anything locked down. It'll be in the next few months. We're going to put it out. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do this one more time because this is another fun one. Coastal Styles Magazine. Everybody heard of it? We have two top magazines there. Metropolitan, where it ended. Anyone see the Coastal Styles article? Know how Ocean Pines was named? Some saw it, some did. Best community in Worcester County to live in. That's you got best community in Worcester County to live in. Coastal Styles Magazine. Pretty good deal. That's because of you guys. So, again, this month we've had several really good things, and this was another big one. So that's real positive. Pick up an issue. I think we brought some in the back. So take a look at it. But some pretty good things that represent the community the right way. Okay? I'm going to hit. I only have a few questions come in, so I'm going to put them up here, and we'll open up to anything you all weren't talking. Okay, these two, I put them together. I know Teresa got on me, but I combined them. Basically, saying they were sandpiper questions. I think I answered all those, except one. When sandpiper, where we are, what type of things. So I answered those. Okay. I struggled a little bit with this because I'm not sure which way to answer, so I'm going to give you both answers very quickly. The question is, besides meeting compliance and regulatory requirements, how is the need for a capital project determined? Is there a process to submit requests for review and consideration? I don't know from Doug if he was asking, and Doug, if you're here, please tell me. I'm not sure whether the question was the process we use or the process if he had a suggestion. So, long and short, if you have a suggestion of a capital project, something you'd like to see done, just go to whatever department you think is appropriate. If it's recreational, come see Sonia Bounds over here. Something to do with public works, go see our public works team. Something over here at admin or police or whatever, go to the appropriate team. If you're not sure, you can always come see me or call me. Okay, if you have most of the things we do in the community aren't from me, aren't from the board. I hate to say that. I'd like to say we're the smartest of all. We're not. They come from people. Most of what we do comes from you. So share it with us. Now, if the question's the other way, what do? We start the budget process in September. September, October, November, December is when our staff side building budget is presented to the board and the Budget Finance Committee in early January. We go through a round of talks with the Budget and Finance Committee. Usually it's a 2 or 3, sometimes 4-day process. They meet with myself and the department heads, and we go through each of the budget items to include capital for each area, everything associated with it. And then from there, they give their recommendations to the Board of Directors. Board of Directors then, same process starts over, and we start meeting with the Board of Directors and going over the budget there. So the time it have a recommendation, or the process we use, this month, next month, in November, I'm getting the feedback, our Carmine, our controller, is getting the feedback from the department heads. Then we meet individually with each of the department heads about their requests, why they're requesting, what it is, how it impacts their department. If it makes sense, it stays in. If it doesn't, we kind of put this aside as a wish list, but we don't include in the budget. Then we take, once we get all those finished, then we blend them all together to find out what the budget impact. Then from there, we may go back and have to cut more or leave it the same or add, just depending on what the bottom line is. So that's a process we use. Yes, Pete. Yeah, please.
I just want to make an observation that and I don't know what Doug means there, obviously.
I read it. I was back and forth. So Doug, if you're out there, call me.
With rare exception, capital projects relate to what we already have. It's replacing or repairing what already exists. The only 2 exceptions I can think of in the last half a dozen years or so were Ray's dog park and the skateboard park. But virtually every other capital project, large, small, or medium, involved the replacement or the repair of something that already existed rather than something new.
Thank you. Those who don't know, Pete Gomsack served on the board, assistant treasurer of the organization this year, and was previously as well. So thank you for that, Pete. The next question. Okay, this came in a very, very long question, number of parts. I can tell you what it was. I boiled it down to 3 words: boat ramp access. Okay, there's a question about boat ramp access, and if we're going to control or not control, use gates, not use gates, put a rope, not put a rope, and how does it impact the park? It's something we look at and analyze every year. We've been back and forth on to limit access or not limit access. We always look at different ways that it impacts. I believe Steve's referral was more specifically towards the Mumford's Landing one and not the White Horse Park one that we recently renovated. Because of the limited, there's only 7 parking spaces over there for the boat trailers, and that's where it is. Keep in mind, one of the things from our standpoint, we do look at hours of operations. We used to have a chain up there, that we take down when the harbor master came in. End of the day, we close it up. Part of the problem with closing up at the end of the day, if their day ends at 6 or 7, and you're coming in and you're bringing your boat in at 7 or 8 because you fish late, there's going to be a problem, especially if your trailer's right there. And a lot of our members are seasonal, so they'll come down they trailer their boats down or their watercraft or whatever it is. So it creates some issues there that you need to understand. We don't just leave them open just because we want to or because we're lazy about it. When you get 12, 13, almost 14,000 residents, and we balloon up 20 in the summer, and they're bringing watercraft and boats and everything else, the launch areas become very, very busy. It's something we're trying to look out for everybody. If there are, and everyone, those who live close to them, takes more exception to those that don't, obviously, and that's reasonable. I mean, we understand that, but we do try to monitor it and stay on top of it. We can look at putting the gates up, and just we can have someone go lock the gates up at 10 or 11 if we need to. We just haven't seen a lot of boat traffic coming in now, so that extra hour or two after the harbor master's gone really starts to end, when the boats are coming in or out. So we look at it. If it becomes a real, more significant issue, we'll address it differently. But that's where we are right now. And obviously, if the majority of the board says address it differently, we'll address it differently. But right now, our process seems to be working. Okay, here we go. Now the fun begins. Now it's your meeting. Okay, I'm going to start with ladies first. We'll let Miss Anna start. She's right here. Don't look around, Miss Anna. Yes, ma'am.
About the white lines on the road, I don't know if are they our roads, or do we have to go to the commission?
Your concern is the white lines on the road.
Yes, because at nighttime, sometimes it's our life at stake because we can't see.
Okay.
And I'm one of them. I don't like to drive at night, but I go.
Ray will drive you home. We already figured that out earlier. No? Okay.
Yeah, but the white lines should be done over. They're very weak. I don't know if everybody.
The Parkway, we relined them 2 years ago, the white and yellow stripe.
But a lot of the Parkway was repaired this
Well, they've been doing, especially right down here, they did all that water repair.
Every line
Well, here's the challenge with the reflectors. They do get easily torn up if you plow snow. We're actually looking at reflectors to mark. We were looking at reflectors to mark fire hydrants, the blue ones. So we're actually looking at reflectors for some other things as well. Just because the fire hydrants everything's been grown up makes easier for the fire department. So we'll look at.
We'll look into it. That's good.
Yeah, we will. Again, we did 2 years ago. We lined them.
And the other thing is,
right?
The other thing is there's a flag on the Parkway. I talked about it when I came in here. It has all holes. It's torn. It's hanging up. It's on the Parkway going before the bridge, going south. So Ray said he was going to look into it. So I don't know who you call for that.
Ray will take care of that. I don't know if it's on our property. We'll take care of it.
Well, it's on the property of the house, and it looks awful. Have you noticed it?
Okay. Are you Ray? You going to call them and check up? And
that worries me because it just.
No, I agree.
That's it.
And Ray said you take care of it. I'll let Ray. He's bigger than I am. We'll let him do that.
You're doing a great job, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Water main breaks along the Parkway seem to be becoming more frequent. What's the future have in store for that?
If you notice, the Parkway from about here down was all redone. There's a period of time the county's gone back and looked at when certain types of pipes were put, the water lines to your homes were put in. And they've identified groups of them with a certain few years when they were installed, and they've had some problems with them. And part of the thing they did here was to be the least amount disruptive John Ross and his team made sure they kind of knocked that whole section out with one big swoop and got all the lines repaired. So they're actually working on those type of replacement items, and they've actually been pretty good at getting to them. Again, we're a 45, 46-year-old community now, so you're going to have those things happen, but they've been pretty good to work with in trying to get to, when they know there's a group of them, trying to get them quick and get them addressed.
Yeah, I know they jump right on it, but
Yeah.
it seems like this, we have to live with it for.
Well, again, bless you, a community of our age, you're going to have, you're going to have that. Yeah, I'll go right behind you. I'll come back to you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Some of the houses down, and some are probably I bought too. And I think one of the problems is people that have stone driveways let the weeds grow up through the driveway, so they may be mowing their grass, but the driveway is terrible. And I was wondering, maybe the solution would be we got a landscape company that would offer to come like 4 times a year for, say, $100. The people could sign up for that. And part of the problem is they don't know what to do with it. They don't know what to do with their driveway.
Okay.
So they could sign, well, they don't know that, obviously. And so they could sign up for this $100 deal 4 times a year, or somebody should.
Okay. Well, from a compliance standpoint, let me address that one first. If the home is unsightly or in poor condition, you feel it's in violation of DRs, all you do is call our public works team, and they'll send a CPI inspector out to see if it is indeed in violation. If it is, we start the process. Unfortunately, it's not an overnight process. It takes a period of time, period of letters, period of contacts before we can take any action. Okay, so that there is a team in place that actually will do those enforcement of the DRs, and then it elevates the committee, and then from there we take it to the board if we need legal action. So that is the correct and formal process. Okay. Now, as for engaging with 8,402 properties, engaging with a landscape contractor to do that type of work would now be something that we as an association want to engage and accept that liability to be involved at that level. Not that we don't want to help, but you have to take some ownership responsibility as a property owner to do it. We can only apply any leverage based on compliance with a violation. So if it's your neighbor, knock on their door and offer to help them out or share the cost would be my rate. Sometimes it's better coming neighbor to neighbor. It's hard to do, but sometimes it's better to impact those. And if that doesn't work, if it gets unsightly to a point where it's in bad condition, CPI can start the action process. Okay. Yes, sir.
Same issue. So firstly, look at 8 June Lane and 11 June. I'm seeing that condition last night. The owner of 11, the 9 June was not able to sell it because the condition of 11 there's so much communication between public works, the other pictures, and the 2 months back, I sat down with Stephen Street. I explained nothing is happening. You are saying to all the public department take care of 2 places, not taking.
Thank you for the input.
8 June Way.
Yes, sir.
Discussion about driveway.
Yes, sir.
It's the owner's responsibility to keep that driveway, and we do get to be, get a violation. When they park, I've been here 20 years.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and there's always a thing that your property went to the center of that ditch. The center of the ditch is like take care of it.
Yes, sir.
So the law was that you have to park the car in that half or whatever, you know, makes a bed. And we had police and stuff. They was 10 stuff. And they had to come out with get
Further off the road.
But I don't know. I don't think people do that. And then others take that half the front lawn, think it's theirs, put fancy flowers and this and poles, and keep parking there when, especially when people have yard sales. You know, and they're not either they don't understand. We don't have it anymore.
For the parking?
Yeah, for parking and
yeah, the park. Well, good point. The parking is enforced from a standpoint. We follow the state. Our roads are accepted in the county program, which means they're public access roads, which means we have to comply with the state. And the state has higher authority than our DRs. That's something people don't realize. The state has the higher authority. When it was turned over, when we entered the roads program with the county, we now meet the state guidelines. So you're allowed to park 12 inches off the roadway, and I can show you where I have it on my desk because it comes up a lot. I quote, you can park on the side of the road. Street parking is allowed per the state.
you say sign. All four tires on the road, right?
No. You have 12. You're right, and I have to look at the quote, but it's like 12 inches, right tire, 12 inches off the side.
Okay.
There's an actual 12-inch minute. I just can't remember which tire it is. But again, I don't have to enforce it. The police do. But I have the Maryland annotated code for the trans, so I know.
2 tires off the road.
Yeah, no, one can be on the road. There's a distance. It's 12 inch onto the roadway. Here's what I'll tell you. I can't. No, one is allowed to be 2 of your tires are allowed to be on pavement.
Exactly. And
2 off.
And off. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, we're in agreement. If you want to know the exact code, call me tomorrow. I have it on my desk. I get asked a question.
No, I know on here. I'm just making some people aware.
Oh, gotcha.
That don't get excited when somebody parks in the truck there. It's not your problem.
Good point. Yes, sir.
I wanted to talk about 2 things. One, real quick though, is for advertising golf course OC.
Yes, sir. Sir, just so we can hear. I'm sorry, because it's recorded. No, it's okay. Yes, sir.
There's 2 things I wanted to talk about. One is real quick. For advertising the golf course OC.
Okay.
Which is a Sunday morning show.
Yes, sir.
Golf course hat is beautiful. It's great.
Oh, thanks.
They also do a lot of advertising for different restaurants. So I want to way to advertise our yacht.
I thought we were on there.
Not for the restaurant. We're out in for the golf course.
Okay. Well, we can take a look.
Great show, and everybody I talked to, they all say they see it and everything. But the second thing I wanted to talk about was bulkheads.
Yes.
And that's where our neighbors across the canal are saying they're going to replace them. And the only thing my question was is when you look at the bulkhead, it looks beautiful.
Right.
I was just wondering, do we replace them just because of a time span, or?
No, and thank you. Yep, thanks for bringing that up because I've had that question. Bulkheads, we are, for clarification, there seems to be a lot swirling out there. Bulkhead replacement program started 20 or 25 years ago at one point, and it's gone through tracking all the bulkheads. We do a sheet of what needs to be, what's next, the next year and the next year. We're coming to the last 2 years of the program. Okay, so we have budget for the 15-16 budget year, approximately $560,000 for bulkhead work, and it's on the majority of it is on Teal Circle. We have the majority is on Teal Circle. We have Ocean Parkway from 401 to 381. And again, you all can see this. It's in the budget book, but because you asked a specific question.
Sundial.
Ivanhoe Sundial. We have, 225 feet of bulkhead replacement scheduled for Sundial. So depending on where it is.
Yeah, the bulkhead looks beautiful. That's why we were just wondering, don't they inspect it?
Well, it's not. I mean, it's not all of Sundial because there's only 5 properties.
Right, and it curls around.
Yeah, 7 properties. So I don't know where it is. I mean, we'd have to look at it. But I will tell you, some of the things we're looking at with the bulkheads are the rods that go in, and then part that goes in the back of it. Some of them are deteriorating.
They do inspect them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do.
Are they going to consider boosting them up higher?
Well, okay. Now, let me tell you. No, it's a good question. Here's where we are. Next 2 years, okay, we have my bigger list is coming up, and we have one small list for catch-all for the rest. Okay, so that's the next 2 years, that's planned. The plan for replacement for these is the same height, same program that we're under. It's the one we've been under. They're all the same. Now, what will need to happen in the next 18 months or so is we really need to readdress this, and the board's going to have to tackle this, putting a committee, a group, something together to study the bulkhead to answer those type of questions. You know, do we need to increase it by 12 inches? Do we leave it where it is? What's Maryland doing? What's DNR requiring? There's a lot of things we need to look at, not independent of how we're going to fund it. What's our funding solution or strategy as we move forward with the program? So they're the things that will start to come up as well.
Change the plastic, and that plastic, you don't have to redo them as often. Which I know this doesn't sound often.
Well,
20 years.
yeah, I was
What's
going
the
to say,
time span of that?
2 years. We'll be finished in 2 years.
Is that the whole program? 3
Everything.
years?
This is the rest of it.
No, I don't mean the rest of it. The whole program.
The what?
What's the
The whole
time
entire-
span of the entire program?
It was a 25-year program?
35.
35. Thanks, Pete.
35
year program.
Well, when the 35 years is coming to an end.
Yeah, I got a question. When you say sundial, are they original? Is it, they're not.
I don't know off the top of my head. You grabbed me 5 minutes before the meeting, so I grabbed this. I don't know. Now, there are, interesting, I was talking to Eddie Wells yesterday about bulkheads because there are some concrete bulkheads still left in certain areas. Yeah, and some of the conditions. Because we're talking about budgeting, and we need to start to budget to have the rods replaced. And then there are some properties where the rods are starting to fail, and we're noticing some back end, and we are looking at the new Frontier Town apparently just put in, it's a fiberglass or some a different material than the wood. They just did all their bulkhead. So we're looking at that as well to figure out if that's the type of bulkhead we need to go to moving forward. So we are always looking at those upgrades and updates. So I'm not sure the ones you're talking about across the way, but you're welcome to take a copy of it.
No, it's just a neighbor in their asking that they were wood and they just looked so good. See, when we moved in years ago, they were concrete and they were washing out on the bottom. So they needed to be.
A lot of times you may not see from the water line, but it's below that's starting to fail, and behind that's starting to fail. So staying on the system keeps it from having a massive failure. So even though they may look nice at some, at eye level, it's below level. We have some where some of the weep holes and some of the concrete well, I learned this the other day. Some of the old concrete ones, they had weep holes below water line. Okay, and what happens is that some of those are still holding up well, but the challenge is the sediment's coming through the weep holes. Well, if you block the weep holes on the concrete one, the force of the water buildup on the backside, just because the span there and the distance, starts putting pressure on it, and you worry about catastrophic. Instead of having the slow failure, it's a catastrophic, and the whole thing comes down. The yard dumps in the canal.
With the bridge replacement, are you
Yes.
considering trying to lift a little higher?
We're considering a lot of things with the bridge replacement. The ones in those locations, we are looking at increasing either the span or the type of bridge construction so we can get a higher clearance area for boats to get. So yes, that is something we will look at.
Well, your ecology,
Yes,
we
sir.
started looking at the height. Okay.
Environmental Natural Assets Committee is already looking at bulkhead height. So there would be a logical step for us to look at when we're putting a group together to study what to do moving forward. Mr. Knapper. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We have a fairly substantial medical facility getting ready to open outside the North Gate.
Yes, sir.
And if I understand the plans correctly, traffic is only allowed to turn to the right coming out of that facility. Have we thought about, or are we talking to anyone about the impact that would have on us? Because one of the things that's likely to happen, in my opinion, they'll come out of the facility, they'll go down to the parkway, they'll turn right, they'll go across a bridge,
Make a U-turn.
they'll make a U-turn, and at that point, both sides of that bridge are going to be jammed because the outbound traffic will prevent the U-turn. So are we thinking about signs, gun towers, whatever?
No, that's good. That's good. Well,
Need a little.
no, that's good. Gun towers are out.
Yeah,
I'm not supporting that.
I know. Well, I was thinking maybe
They're nice.
BB guns.
All right. Well, here's what I can tell you. When the facility and there's 4 buildings that can be put on that site, just so you know. Okay, this is the first of 4. The concern is the entry and access. Because of the proximity to Route 90 and the exit and the speed at which cars are coming off of it, putting a light there was a concern. We being the association talked 2 years and maybe 2.5 years ago. Had to speak when Mr. Gillis with Gillis Construction approached about how to make the access and with the light, non-light. He brought met with him, State Highway Administration. And when I say we, it was the board met with him. State Highway Administration sat and talked about it. And the best strategy for that intersection at that point and still today is a right in and right out. So that's why you see the paving that's been done the last 2 days, so they can come out and they can accelerate to get on 589. Now, to your point, I believe we're going to have challenges. I just want to make a left turn in front of me today, and they're not even done yet. So everyone stopped. So it's going to be challenging, not unlike Nicholas Lane by the Pizza Hut.
Right.
People come and they make whatever turn they want. You're not supposed to do it there either. So I think it is a challenge. And I believe it will be something we're going to have to look at very hard over the next couple of years once it opens up. And if he starts on the second one, more traffic. Now, the flip side is the type, and this was the argument 2.5 years ago, the type of business is a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday business, which that was the sale. I'm not saying it is or isn't, but because of that, it should have the least amount of impact. The weekends, for us, for the holiday weekends, that type of thing, is not supposed to impact us as greatly because the type of business is not 7 days a week, 20 hours a day. That was the rationale behind it. That's the formal answer. Informal, it's a problem. We know it is. I mean,
as a start, I would personally have about 4 no U-turn signs made.
Well, that's a county. You understand? That's a state-regulated road. We can't. That's not our road.
We need to be talking about that because
you're talking about once you come into our community.
Yes,
I thought that was
we can do that
because if I'm right, and Lord knows I could be wrong, but if I'm right, and they get substantial traffic over, because they are going to have the cardiac rehab that's going in there, they are going to have their own pharmacy. As traffic grows, you'll lock up that north gate in both directions.
Yep. Right.
And
we have it now.
If you think it's bad now.
No, I'm with you.
Okay. We may have to go have somebody or talk to somebody about revisiting the no traffic light. I get why they don't want a traffic. We may have to revisit. My suggestion is that we be as proactive as we can be in this mix so that we get people thinking about problems perhaps before they occur or perhaps before they get really bad. That's my 2 cents. I understand the road thing.
Sure.
But, we ought to be talking to people. And if you are already, great. If you're not, you should.
Fair enough. And I'll go to the back and I'll come back this way. Yes, ma'am.
I have already brought.
Cheryl Jacobs, our Vice President of our board, for those that don't know. So Mayor Beth Cruz, one of our representatives. And we had a county commissioner right from Ms. Jacobs there, so he's hearing it as well. More support. Right, Jim?
Because this isn't exactly our problem.
You're learning. No.
This is what I'm about to say is exactly our problem. You watch. When that thing opens and you got people wanting to go southbound, they're going to take the right turn only and do a U-E right there.
Again, happened today. I'm with you. I know what's going to happen.
So
100% with you. Teresa, you got it down. Yes, sir.
At one point, some folks were talking about having to replace that bridge, that same bridge.
Yes, sir.
Along the traffic. If I recall, we were going to try to make better access going out like a couple.
2 lanes out.
Yeah. If I recall, the state highway said they would do something once we did something. If I recall this property, they would help. We help ourselves. One of my thoughts is comment on that. So instead of having to replace that, there's plenty of nice entrances that could be done. And the dual lane coming in both ways. Now you still come into a parkway. My real question is, do you have a policy? I'm going to go back in history. The last time the Ocean Parkway was paved,
Yes.
it would be paved totally again. When it was, well, I believe it was Ferguson. I said, we won't do any more cuts across. Everything will be put underneath. You know. Now we've gotten a policy that wherever they want to seem to cut, and maybe it's necessary. I just want, and it's a really neat way to do that because they either fill it this way or they fill it this way. But regardless, when it gets finished, it's never the same. Do you have a policy, or I know like MediaCom, a lot of times they have to tunnel underneath, private driveways. So it seems like we're letting them cut the heck out of the parkway. That's okay. At some point in time, if we're going to ever repave that, it'd be nice to have a policy that says, okay, get your stuff done because we're not going to do this now. Maybe so many, you could probably tell me if there is any policy as far as the cuts. I don't know.
Depending on the utility company agreement doesn't allow cuts for the majority. I'm not sure where they're cutting all the way across the parkway except for where the county viewer, and then they repaved that whole section right here because of the.
It's not all the way across, but
right now
the wood duck straight out to the south, and we've chopped.
Yeah, there's little right off of the side element. It's not coming all the. Before they used to cut all the way. Anyone's been here for any period of time, they used to just cut straight across. Okay, when the agreement with MediaCom was struck 20 years ago, and some of the other utilities, they had to bore under, and that's what they do now for the most part. Right now, the company's working down the parkway here, and they are taking these out because they can't get under with the equipment. But if you notice, they've been weeks doing it because they're boring under and with all the utilities. So that's the primary way of doing it. Now, so we are the parkway is set in our plan of when we're going to pave it. We're actually looking at that now. It's coming up due from end to end to be paved. So we are looking at that.
That's a lot easier question.
That was. I like that one better. Yes, sir.
Does the state own our roads?
State does not. They do not own our roads. We own the roads.
Can we put no turns here, no turns here, no turns there?
Well, here's what I can tell you.
People are very short-tempered today.
They are. Here's what I can tell you. No, we can put signage on our roads. They have to meet the county and state codes. But they have to meet the codes. But remember this, a lot, other than when you first come through that North Gate entrance example, other than that, folks that live are going to have to make a U-turn to get to their house.
Right, yeah.
I can't put no U-turn for... No, yes.
Now you got the first U-turn, which is for the police.
I understood.
And then you have the next one, which is for people that live here.
No, but I'm saying a lot of people on the parkway pass their house and have to spin around to come to their house.
Yep.
You follow what I'm saying? I'm coming in the North Gate.
Yeah.
I understand right away. The first one we could potentially do it. But after that, the folks who live on that left side have to go past all the grass and trees, spin around and come back to their house. I can't do a non-U-turn or they can't get to their house. They have to go however long until we put no non-U-turn sign.
No, not 9 of them.
I said until then. I don't know when. And if I'm in one of those houses, I'm making the U-turn because I'm doing it for 25 years. I'm just telling you, I know what's going to happen. And I don't live there, so it's not me, but I know what will happen.
Even if you put the sign, they so far, I think people will make a U-turn to go to their house.
To their home, they will. I agree with that.
Yeah,
I saw.
I don't want to block it. Turn to the house.
But if
there's two stops there that could be blocked.
All right, we'll jump over here. Yes, ma'am.
I have another sign request, but it's not that complicated.
Oh, a sign request, but it's an easy one. We'll take this.
Could we just have an entrance sign in front of the yacht? There's
Yes.
still a lot of people that don't know where that first drive is.
And they're turning right in front of Osprey. I got it.
And or when will those concrete barriers be allowed to?
You're really going to ask me that right now?
Okay.
Thanks,
just
buddy.
the sign part.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, you said easy. The sign's easy.
Okay, the
We're actually going to budget to put an entrance, a nicer looking entrance sign at when you come right there off the turn. We should have some. So we'll budget for that in this budget process. As for the concrete barriers, we're going to have to kind of, let me keep working that. Okay, that was a requirement that we just have to be careful how we work through that.
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Was that the electric sign I keep asking you about?
Not at the yacht club, no sir.
No way.
Haven't you asked me something?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, I'm here for you. Yeah.
I am new.
No, it's fine. I'm just kidding. What's your question?
The last 2 meetings, I thought it was not last year.
Right.
Suggested that I should move the irrigation. So, I give it, I feel.
Okay.
Putting ping pong food. Was there any discussion?
To put a ping pong or pool table at the yacht club? There was not.
Whatever I asked for.
Not to deaf ears. I can tell you, I'm not putting a pool table or ping pong table at the yacht club. The board's going to have to direct me
No,
to
I'm
it.
saying, was there any discussion? Board about it?
I didn't talk to the board about it. I wouldn't recommend it. You certainly can as a member.
I did know that there was. And I'm asking if the board talk to you about it.
No, sir, they have not. And when they do, I'm going to argue against. I'm just telling you now. I'm being honest. I'm not putting. It's not a sports bar. It's no. Fair enough. Sorry, Eddie? Yes, ma'am.
In case you're not aware, and I want everybody to listen to this, there are many, many, many people in Ocean Pines that have quit Sandpiper, folded up, said go away, and they've gone to either Sharp Energy with the tanks or Suburban.
Okay.
They'd rather pay $1.99 a gallon than $3 a gallon, right?
Yes.
Many of those people, me included, will not go back to Sandpiper. And I think the board needs to do a tally to find out how many people have switched that don't intend to go back, because it's going to impact their business, I think. What do you think?
There are some that are better than that. RD, $1.79 a gallon.
Right. There are many companies out there that are half the price of what Sandpiper is. They're not going to pay that high price. They're going to stick with the propane tanks, and this man here built a beautiful fence around it, so it's all enclosed.
You're not selling.
No. But wouldn't it be interesting if you did a survey to find how many people are interested in going back to Sandpiper, natural gas?
I'm not sure what good the survey does, but I see Teresa's making it up.
Well, I think it would be impressive if you would find that out, because a lot of those people will not go back. They pay the extra fee.
Are there any other questions? All right, any other questions for me tonight? We good? You have a question? All right. Oh, hang on. I have one more question. Yes. The question, Ms. Jacobs is on the board. She'd like to know, is it your goal to stop us from getting that?
No. My goal was to save money. That's what it is.
Certainly, most profits that come in natural gas. That ultimately be the goal.
Oh, I don't know, but I just think it might be interesting to find out how many people would be willing to go back to Sandpiper, pay the higher price.
I can tell you, when this rolls out, I can tell you there are some advantages to sticking with and not. There are, and I'll lay it out. I'll help put it out there, but it's going to be your decision. And we're not going to coach you to go to a tank or not go to a tank. That's part of the deal. That's not our thing. We just want to get you out. You make your decision for your life and your financials. Sure.
I'd like to close on a positive note that as I've been here for 22 years, seeing other people manage this place, I think this gentleman would be a hard guy to
All right, well, thanks, man.
Sure. And our board members, she's still here.